Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for checking out my channel again. As always, thank you for the likes. Feel free to comment and subscribe. I will appreciate it all. Let's take another look at where the SEC stands after last weekend's games. And we'll begin in the East with number one in the East being Kentucky, which they won 2 out of 3 in their home series against Arkansas, which, like I said, does show they are a good team and they sure can hit. They are 17-6 in the SEC on the season. And what was good for them was their Saturday starter, Dominic Niemann, had a solid outing of 5.1 innings. After the last two Saturdays, he's not made it past the first inning, so that's good for them to get him back on track. And they will host Florida this coming weekend. Second in the East is Tennessee, who is actually first in the nation this week. They went 2-1 against Florida and are 17-7 in the SEC. They have only lost one series the whole year, and that was the opening series against Alabama, which Tennessee seems to always struggle in their opening series for the year, but they've only lost one this year. One budding star on Tennessee is pitcher Nate Snead. He's just a sophomore, and he's been coming in relief and even close some, but he's 8-1 on the season, and in the last game of the series pitched 5 innings with no earned runs and 7 strikeouts. Tennessee will be at Vanderbilt this coming weekend. Coming in third in the East and 15th ranked is the Georgia Bulldogs. They swept Vandy this past weekend, and they are 13-11 in the SEC, and they are playing some good ball. Of course, they have Charlie Condon, who's hitting .459 average this year with 33 home runs, and has hit a home run in 7 straight games. He is just a straight-up beast. And they will be at South Carolina this weekend, which that will be a fun series to watch. Speaking of South Carolina, they are right behind Georgia, but they are ranked 13th in the nation. And they were 2-1 over the weekend at Missouri, and they are 13-11, just like Georgia in the SEC. Sunday they had Conor McGregor, who's 3-0, but he picked up the win Sunday and got 4 Ks. And they're a good-looking team. They're kind of sneaking up on you. And like I said, South Carolina and Georgia, that'll be a heck of a series this weekend. Below South Carolina is Vanderbilt, who, like I said, got swept by Georgia and is 11-13 in the SEC. What is going on down in Nashville with Tim Corbin? This is kind of 2 years in a row they've kind of been on the downturn, and it don't get any easier this weekend as they host Tennessee. And even below Vanderbilt is Florida, who went 1-2 against Tennessee and is 10-14 in the SEC. They were ranked as high as 6th this year in the national polls. I don't know what's happened to them either. They do have Jack Cagliona, who's a heck of a ball player. But other than that, I just don't know. And, of course, the bottom of the East is Missouri Tigers, who they went 1-2 in their weekend series. They're 7-17 in the SEC, and they will not make the SEC tourney this year, as these two teams not, and they're one of them. Oddly enough, they play at Auburn this coming weekend. Now let's take a look at the West. And first place in the West is the Arkansas Razorbacks, who are ranked number 5 in the nation. And they went 1-2 over the weekend at Kentucky. They're 17-6 in the SEC. They had a decent series, just kind of came up short. And, in my previous video, I was talking about pitching, and they have Hagen Smith, a left-handed pitcher. He's a junior, and he is 9-0 with a 1.36 ERA and 125 strikeouts. So he's probably about the best pitcher in the SEC this year. Arkansas will have a tough series as they host Mississippi State this coming weekend. Texas A&M went 1-2 this past weekend against LSU, and they're ranked the 3rd-ranked team in the nation. They're 15-8 in the SEC. They lost the first 2 games, and they won Sunday thanks to Chris Cortez, who pitched 4.1 innings and got the win Sunday, and is 7-2 on the season. They need to get it together. They will be at Ole Miss, and Ole Miss isn't easy to push around at home, especially. Behind A&M is Mississippi State Bulldogs, who are up to 14 in the nation this week. They went 2-1 against Bama and are 14-10 in the SEC. It's good to see them have a comeback here. They've always been a good baseball program. It's good to see them coming back this year. And they have, I'm going to butcher his name, Drangelo Sanja, who is 7-1 on the year with a 3.53 ERA. And he is a guy that pitches from right-handed and left-handed, and he throws 95 from either side. I saw him live last year, and it didn't work out too well for him, but it seems like he's getting it figured out, and he's an interesting character to watch pitch. But they will be against hosting A&M this weekend. Behind Mississippi State is Alabama, who went 1-2 against Mississippi State the previous weekend, 10-14 overall in the SEC. And they beat Tennessee in the opening series, and they've just had trouble ever since the beginning of the year. It's not been that great of a year for Alabama, and they will be at LSU this coming weekend. And speaking of LSU, they went 2-1 against Texas A&M and are 9-14 in the conference, which is subpar for them, but they are coming on strong lately, and of course led by Tommy White, the third baseman, who's hitting .328 with 19 home runs, and he's the real leader on the team. And like I said, they've been doing a whole lot better lately, and they will be at Alabama this coming weekend. Ole Miss went 2-1 against Auburn this past weekend. They are 9-14 in the SEC, so it's a below year for them too. And it's kind of the second straight bad year for them. Their kind of star is Andrew Fisher, who's hitting .302 with 18 home runs. And they will be play A&M, next Texas A&M this coming weekend. And rounding up the bottom is the Auburn Tigers, who went 1-2 against Ole Miss and is 4-18 in the SEC. That was a crazy ninth inning of the Sunday game between Auburn and Ole Miss. They both went ahead in the ninth inning. It was just crazy. But Auburn is also the second team that will not make the SEC tournament, them and Missouri, and they will be at Missouri this coming weekend. Thanks for watching.